The moment the trucks stop moving, your timeline collapses. Not in theory, not someday. Within 72 hours of interrupted distribution, modern cities begin to fracture under the weight of their own dependence. Grocery inventories thin, fuel stations dry, pharmacies empty. The fragility is not philosophical, it is logistical. The global supply chain operates on just-in-time delivery, a system engineered for efficiency, not resilience. Warehouses do not store months of surplus. Retail shelves are restocked based on predictive algorithms calibrated for stability. When transport slows or stops due to fuel disruption, labor shortages, infrastructure failure, cyber attack, natural disaster, or cascading grid failure, the illusion of abundance evaporates quickly. And when that illusion breaks, the most dangerous mistake you can make is believing your bug-out bag will save you simply because you packed it. The concept of the bug-out bag emerged from military doctrine and emergency management plan, a 72-hour sustainment kit designed to allow rapid evacuation under hostile or unstable conditions. In practice, most civilian interpretations distort them. People pack for comfort instead of survivability. They prepare for inconvenience instead of systemic interruption. They load weight without understanding caloric mathematics. They buy gear based on marketing imagery rather than environmental probability. The bag becomes symbolic reassurance rather than a calibrated survival instrument. And symbols do not stabilize blood glucose, purify contaminated water, or regulate core temperature in freezing rain. The first mistake begins before a single item is placed inside. Misunderstanding what failure actually looks like. Most assume collapse means dramatic, visible chaos, fires, riots, dramatic visuals. In reality, breakdown begins quietly with compounding friction. ATMs stop dispensing cash because armored trucks cannot reach. Traffic signals fail when backup batteries. Gas pumps cease functioning without it. Hospitals operate on generator power that is engineered for limited. Wastewater treatment plants rely on electrically driven pumps to prevent backflow contamination. The visible disorder appears only after invisible systems degrade. If your bag is built for spectacle rather than systemic interruption, it will fail. The hidden science here is systems interdependent. Critical infrastructure, energy, water, transportation, communications, healthcare, food distribution are mutually dependent. Electrical grids power fuel pipelines enable transportation. Transportation fleets deliver chlorine to water. Water treatment plants prevent disease. Disrupt one node long enough and secondary failures cascade. This is not speculative. Post-disaster analyses from hurricanes, wildfires, and regional blackouts consistently document cross-sector combat. Survival planning must be engineered around cascading degradation, not isolated inconvenience. Consider weight. The average untrained adult can sustainably carry approximately 20% of body weight for extended movement under stress before fatigue severely degrades mobility and cognition. Many commercially marketed bug-out bags exceed this threshold once water is added. Water weighs 1 kilogram per liter. A minimal hydration requirement during moderate activity in temperate climate is roughly 3 liters per day. In heat or high exertion, that doubles. If you pack 9 liters for 3 days, you've already added nearly 20 pounds. Add food, tools, clothing, and miscellaneous equipment, and the load becomes physiologically punishing. Dehydration reduces cognitive function before thirst feels urgent. Heat stress impairs judgment. Muscle fatigue slows travel speed, increasing exposure time. The misunderstanding is believing more gear equals more safety. The reality is that mobility is a survival multiplier. Overweight bags convert mobility into liability. Another pervasive error is calorie miscalculation. Many pack canned goods or bulky packaged foods without understanding caloric density. In survival scenarios, weight-to-calorie ratio is critical. The human body under stress may require 2,000 to 3,000 kilocalories per day, depending on exertion and temperature. Protein is important, but fat provides more than double the calories per gram compared to carbohydrates or protein. A bag filled with low-density snack foods will create caloric deficit. The hidden principle is metabolic efficiency. When glycogen stores deplete in intake is insufficient, cognitive performance drops, decision-making deteriorates, and emotional volatility. Historical disaster case studies repeatedly show that poor decision-making under stress amplifies risk exposure. Nutrition is not comfort, it is neurological stability. Then there is water purification, perhaps the most misunderstood component of civilian preparedness. Many carry a small filter straw and assume water problems are solved, but filtration is not sterilization. Most portable hollow fiber filters effectively remove bacteria and protozoa, but may not eliminate viruses, which are significantly smaller. In regions where viral contamination risk is high, chemical treatment or boiling becomes necessary. Boiling requires fuel. Fuel requires plant. Chemical purification requires time and temperature awareness. The science is straight from microbiology. Pathogens such as Giardia and Cryptosporidium are larger and easier to filter, while viruses like norovirus require additional. The mistake is assuming a single device guarantees safety. The survival implication is gastrointestinal illness at the worst possible moment, leading to dehydration and weakness during display. Fire-starting kits are often overemphasized while shelter science is neglected. People pack ferro rods and multiple ignition sources, yet carry inadequate insulation. In many climates, hypothermia can occur in temperatures well above freezing when combined with wind and moisture. The body loses heat through conduction, convection, radiation, and evaporation. A lightweight emergency blanket reflects radiant heat, provides minimal insulation against conductive loss from cold ground. Without proper layering, moisture management, and ground insulation. A person can light fires all night and still lose core temperature. The misunderstanding is equating flame with warmth. The hidden science is thermoregulation and heat transfer physics. Medical kits are another zone of illusion. Many pre-assembled kits are designed for minor cuts and blisters, not trauma or infection control. Realistic emergency scenarios involve lacerations, sprains, burns, and potential contamination. Without knowledge of wound cleaning, sterile technique, and infection monitoring, equipment alone does little. Furthermore, medications degrade in heat and humidity. Insulin, certain antibiotics, and epinephrine have storage constraints. In supply chain disruption, chronic condition management becomes a primary mortality driver. Survival is not just about surviving the initial event, it is about sustaining pre-existing health needs when pharmacies cannot restock. The hidden principle is continuity of care planning. Communication planning is often absent. People assume cellular networks will function, yet cell towers rely on grid power and limited battery or generator power. Congestion overload can render networks unusable even when infrastructure remains intact. Without predetermined rendezvous points and analog communication methods, families fail. The science here involves network capacity limits and power redundancy design. Emergency management agencies consistently advise layered communication plans because single-point reliance fails under strain. The survival implication is isolation and increased vulnerability. Escalation occurs when multiple small miscalculations intersect. An overweight bag slows evacuation. Delayed movement exposes you to heat stroke. Inadequate hydration planning leads to early depletion. Contaminated water source induces illness. Illness reduces mobility further. Night exposure without proper insulation lowers core temperature. Cognitive impairment leads to poor navigation choices. Each error compounds. Survival rarely fails because of one dramatic mistake. It erodes through cumulative friction. To understand why bug-out bags so often disappoint, you must analyze behavioral psychology. Preparedness purchasing triggers a sense of control. Ownership of gear reduces anxiety. But control perception does not equal functional competence. Skills decay without rehearsal. Fire starting in dry backyard conditions is not equivalent to igniting damp tinder under wind stress. Navigating a familiar trail differs from route planning under infrastructure failure. The hidden science is stress inoculation and procedural memory. Without repeated practice under variable conditions, performance collapses under adrenal load. Evidence from disaster response evaluations consistently shows that individuals who train simple, repeatable procedures outperform those who rely on complex gear. Redundancy in critical categories. Water, signal, matters more than novelty. Weight discipline matters more than gadget diversity. Caloric density matters more than meal variety. And perhaps most overlooked of all, decision thresholds matter more than equipment. Knowing when to leave is often more critical than what you carry. Evacuating too late forces movement through deteriorating conditions. Evacuating unnecessarily wastes energy and resources. Decision-making must be based on observable indicators, infrastructure reliability, official advisories, environmental cues, resource depletion rate. Emotional panic and denial are equally dangerous. The conversation must now shift from individual items to structural strategy. A bug-out bag is not a survival solution. It is a bridge, a temporary sustainment kit enabling transition from unstable location to safer destination. Without a predetermined destination, route mapping, and contingency alternates, the bag becomes aimless weight. Geography dictates strategy. Urban density presents different challenges than rural isolation. Climate alters water requirements, insulation needs, and movement timing. Population behavior influences risk exposure. Preparedness without contextual mapping is theoretical. As supply chains strain globally due to climate volatility, geopolitical tension, labor shifts, and infrastructure aging, the probability of localized disruption increases. Not permanent collapse, but repeated stress events. The rational response is not fear, but recalibration. Every gram in your bag must justify its presence through measurable survival value. Every assumption must be stress tested against real biological and logistical constraints. Because when the distribution networks pause and the shelves thin, your margin for error narrows faster than you think. The next layer of mistakes is more subtle and more dangerous because it hides inside common thoughts. Many recommend duplicating tools excessively. Multiple knives, redundant multi-tools, excessive cordage, heavy metal cooking. Redundancy is essential only for failure-critical functions. Carrying 5 cutting tools does not increase survival probability proportion, but carrying insufficient water treatment redundancy can be catastrophic. The hidden science here is risk prioritization. Not all failures carry equal consequences. Dehydration kills faster than dull blades. Hypothermia progresses faster than hunger. Risk-weighted packing requires ranking threats by time to irreversibility. The body can endure caloric deficit for days. It cannot endure core temperature drop or severe dehydration for long. Time to irreversibility is a concept rarely discussed in civilian preparedness. It refers to how quickly a physiological failure progresses beyond recoverable limits. Airway obstruction is immediate. Severe bleeding is minutes. Dehydration is days. Starvation is weeks. Shelter failure in cold rain can become life-threatening within hours. Your bag must reflect this biological trend. Yet most civilian kits overweight long-term concerns while underweighting immediate survival physiology. Escalation continues when environmental unpredictability intersects with overconfidence. Many assume they will travel primarily during daylight, but heat index may force nocturnal movement. Navigating at night increases injury without proper lighting and battery planning. Mobility degree. Batteries themselves are vulnerable to cold temperatures. losing capacity significantly below freezing. Chemical reactions slow. Lithium performs better than alkaline in cold environments. This is electrochemistry, not chemistry. Ignoring it means dead headlamps when visibility matters most. Another neglected domain is foot care. Movement equals survival. Blisters form from friction, moisture, and heat. When skin integrity breaks, infection risk rises. Without breathable socks, moisture management, and proper footwear conditioning before crisis, minor irritation escalates into immobilization. Historical military data consistently identifies foot injury as a primary limiter of sustained movement. The misunderstanding is treating footwear as an afterthought. The hidden principle is biomechanics under load. Documentation is rarely prioritized. In evacuation scenarios, identification, insurance records, medical prescriptions, and critical contacts can determine access to aid or accommodation. Digital backups on encrypted storage with power-independent access matter. Paper copies and waterproof containers matter. Supply chain disruption often coincides with administrative disruption. Reestablishing identity can be as vital as reestablishing shelter. Escalation intensifies when communities destabilize. Social dynamics shift under scarcity. Crowded evacuation routes increase confrontation probability. Visible high-end gear can attract unwanted attention. The concept of gray man strategy, minimizing conspicuousness, is grounded not in paranoia but in criminology. As we move deeper, the question is no longer what you packed, but whether your plan aligns with how modern infrastructure actually failed. Because the most common bug-out bagging This is routine activity building theory for cinematic criminology rather than incremental. Your bag should not broadcast resource abundance.